Assalamualaikum class. I am Miss Amira and for today's lesson we are going to talk about past continuous tense. We already learned about this topic in our previous class. So for today's lesson I am going to have a quick recap on what past continuous is. First, let's see how can we construct sentences using past continuous tense. There are three main sentence structures which are affirmative, negative, and the question structure. Let's look at it one by one. The first structure is the affirmative structure. So, the formula is subject plus was or were plus verb plus ing. For example, a group of scientists were conducting an experiment. The subject, a group of scientists, plus the verb to be were, plus verb plus ing conducting an experiment. And you have to remember, for singular nouns, I, he, she, and it, we must use the verb to be was. And for plural nouns, you, we, and they, we must use the verb to be were. Let's move on to the negative structure. The formula is subject plus was or were plus not plus verb plus ing. For example, several students were not paying attention during the lecture. The subject several students plus the verb to be were plus not plus verb plus ing paying attention during the lecture. So the subject is plural, which are several students. Therefore, we need to use the verb to be were. The last structure is the question structure. The formula is was plus. The next structure is the question structure. So the formula is was or were plus subject plus verb plus ing and a question mark. For example, were the boys playing outside in the rain? Now, we can use past continuous to describe an action that is happening at a specific time in the past. For example, at 10 a.m. yesterday, I was studying in the library. The action I was studying in the library was performed in the past, which is at 10 a.m. yesterday. We can also use past continuous to describe two actions happening at the same time. For example, while I was cooking, my brother was cleaning the room. Somewhere in the past, there were two people in the house. One was cooking and one was cleaning the room. The use of past continuous was cooking and was cleaning are to describe that the two actions happen at the same time. Next, past continuous is also used to describe an action in progress when something else happened. For example, I was walking to school when it started to rain. So last Sunday, when you went out of your house, it was sunny. However, while you were walking to school, suddenly it started to rain heavily. So the past continuous that is used in this sentence shows action that were in progress, not just one moment, and then something else happened. A few weeks ago, I gave an essay task where you need to write 80 words essay on the day I will never forget. I have marked the essay, and some of you use past continuous tense wrongly in your sentence. So, let's look at the mistakes and correct them together. So, the first one is, I couldn't forget the time we was sleeping in the camp. You was looking for water like I need water. The sentence structure is correct. It has a subject, verb to be, and a verb plus ing. However, these sentences are wrong because the student used was with we and you. We and you are considered as plural. Therefore, you need to use the verb to be were. Hence, the correct sentence should be I couldn't forget the time when we were sleeping in the camp. You were looking for water like I need water. We and you always go with were in the past continuous tense. Let's look at the next example. I was very happy, but it all ended on the last day of school. You was crying very loud, but I was just silent on that day. Like the first example, the sentence you was crying very loud is structurally correct, but it is considered wrong because the student used was for you. You is considered as plural noun, so you need to use the verb to be were. So the correct sentence would be you were crying very loud when I was just silent on that day. Moving on to the last example, during our last day of school, we had to sing a song on the stage. I also remember being shy on stage because everyone looked. The sentence I also remember being shy on stage because everyone looked is wrong because the student used the base form look instead of was looking. This breaks the past continuous structure. So the correct sentence would be I also remember being shy on stage because everyone was looking at me. Why is it correct? So everyone is a singular third person subject. So we use was and we use the verb looking because we need the plus ing form to show that it was an ongoing action. When something is happening around you in the background or over time in the past, we use was or were plus the ing structure. For short, we have learned how to construct sentences using past continuous tense, and we know when to use it in a sentence. You just need to remember that for singular subject, you need to use a verb to be was, and for plural subject, you need to use the verb to be were. For example, we were singing, you were dancing, and he was eating. So that is all for today's lesson. Thank you for your attention and I'll see you in the next class.